Thursday, and today I want to make a rainbow mantis shrimp, otherwise known as an Odontodactylus scyllaris, but like a big one. This is a rainbow mantis shrimp, by the way. So you might be wondering why? Why would I want to make one of these? Well, first of all, just look at it. Look at the colours, look at the shapes, look at the textures. Also, they can punch with 1500 newtons of force, creating tiny little like bubbles that can implode at more than 4000 degrees. But also, they're just cool little guys. Anyway, I've been wanting to make this project for a really long time. I think I started talking about it like a year ago. And this year, I've kind of given myself a little bit more permission to make whatever I want to make. And so this is currently the top of my list. So like, they're usually about this big. This is probably overkill, but about this is my goal. Yeah, I just want him to be big enough that I can squeeze him. He needs to be squeezed, squoze and shrimp. So, sketching from a slightly different location today. This is the place I normally stream from. Hello. So, there they are, the beautiful little fishies. He's kind of hard to work out exactly what he looks like. He's kind of got this like liminal space thing kind of happening with all of his legs at the front with these little pinches and his little leggies. But I definitely like him in like a kind of upright little pose. It's kind of like this. And then he has like the rest of him doing whatever it is it does. The back is definitely made up of like these shell pieces. Sort of 9-ish. I'm not promising to get quite that specific with my accuracy, but we'll make sure that he looks nice and shelly. His two big goofball eyes are important. And he's got like lots of different bits attached to his face. They are lots of different colours too. And these claws kind of fold in on themselves more than you'd expect. Tiny shrimpy little legs. Bunch of little frilly frondy bits down the edges of his shell. And then his tail is kind of also like very multi-layered. Again, with like lots of little like frilly, delicate pieces. So you see what it is that I'm signing up for here. It's basically a lot of like basic crochet stuff and then just a lot of like detail work. It's the giant eyes that really make it for me though. So just layers upon layers upon layers of stuff. So I feel like that should actually be pretty forgiving in terms as far as designs go, because like when you have to do like layers and layers and layers of stuff, it tends to turn out looking cool even if you don't get every single one of the layers perfect. I think when you put a lot of effort into something, people can tell. These claws, I might need to do a little bit more of an anatomy breakdown on what exactly they are, but for now I'm just drawing them in like this and tuck them in under there. And his back, we have layers of shell pieces. Okay, so I did a few like extra detail sketches there just to help me a little bit when it comes time to do those bits, but honestly I'm probably gonna have to like refer heavily to reference images throughout this whole project. It's not really going to be a one-day kind of thing. So I think we're going to start with just like making a base piece, and it's going to have to be like the giant log that we attach all of the other bits to it. Okay, so to get started properly we have to pick some colours, and I'm going to be sticking with my 8-ply Marvel assortment because I already know I have all of the colours, and with a project like this it's kind of easy to say, oh, I'm just going to use all the colours, but that's not really a helpful thing to say. So I'm going to like mount you to the roof and we're going to see if I can find the actual colours that I'm going to need for this project, because there's like a lot of them. Okay, well to start with we know that there's plenty of blues and greens, so I have some mallard there and a little bit of that. White for the eyes. My blue tones aren't particularly vibrant here. I'm going to see if I can find a brighter one. Ah, there it is. There's a nice bright red. It's a lot. There's a lot of colours going on here. Looking for my blues. That's a nice iceberg. I like iceberg better than cloud. And for that, I definitely want to swap that out too. That's way better. So like, those are kind of more my main blues. It's going to be like pops of a few of the others. So, my goodness, it really just is all of the colours. I'm doing my best. Okay, so that is kind of just a sample of what I'm probably going to end up using, but I've decided there's a limited usefulness in pulling out every single colour that I need right this second, instead of just like keeping a reference image in front of me, keeping the pieces that I'm working on in front of me, knowing what colours I'm going to use to decorate them up. You know what I mean? Just like keep the mental game strong, but in the meantime not have all of my yarn sitting on my desk. So the box will be where the yarn continues to live in the meantime. I'm coming back for you later. Yes. soon. However, I have come to a conclusion that I'm going to be using a double strand for our base piece just because, like, I don't feel the need to punish myself by doing everything with a single strand, and the base piece isn't going to be visible anyway. And using a double strand means that it's going to get twice as big, twice as fast. So that's great. And of course, using a double strand does mean I have to replace my 3.5mm hook with, I think I'm going to go up to a 5mm today, but if that's too tight, we'll go up to a 6. Alright, I need to calm down. That's 30 stitches around already, and that's meant to be the narrow point of the head. Come check out your friends, mate. Does it pass inspection? Do you bring that back? Ah! That's not yours. Okay, so, a little shrimpier than I was expecting. I think I chickened out a little bit early on him. But he's still going to have, like, excuse you, but he's still going to have, like, big eyeballs on top and a tail to add some width, and just, like, the plates should add some bulk as well. So, like, he's going to end up a little bigger than this. He's just not quite as big as I was expecting him to be. So here is the base that we made yesterday, and, after a little bit of thought last night, I decided it was just a little bit too shrimpy. And you know what? I made a bigger one. It was too small. So I ended up using the exact same pattern, but with a triple strand instead of a double strand. And I went all the way up to a 6.5mm hook. And I just think this is going to work for us a lot better. So now we can move on to the next piece. Okay, so with that piece done, the next logical piece to tackle would be something like the claws, but I find myself wanting to do the eyes next. The eyes are such an important part of what makes this little guy who he is, and I have some ideas as to like what kind of materials we can use for it too. Now the thing is for these eyes is that I have these. Now you might remember these from when we made our puppet. Oops, sorry mate. Our puppet last year, and I used them to give the eyes some shine, but I did crochet underneath. And I was kind of thinking about doing the same thing today. But I'm worried that they're going to be a little too big. Okay, you sit there and look, how about you get a fresh worm? Okay, this little guy's tired of being chewed on. Too big? Well, maybe they're just right. These are the problems we're having at the moment. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is, I think that these can work. We are going to give them a go. These could turn out looking really cute at this scale. So yeah, wish me luck. So working with a slightly brighter palette today, which is a little bit more fun. Plus, now we're on to pieces that'll actually be visible. I'm going to be back to my 3.5mm hook and a single strand, just so I get that really nice stitch density happening. Okay, so that's 30 stitches around at the moment. And fun fact, that is as many stitches around as like the thickest part of this neck piece. Okay, so that's 36 stitches around. You know what? I don't think these are gonna work. I think they're too round when we need them to be flatter. So it was worth a try though. Okay, so I've done a bunch of I did front post and then I did a couple of rows of back post just to give some nice loopy details around the edge of the eye, and then I'm going to go back to regular stitching for the rest of it. I just thought it would give it like an interesting textural thing, and I'm pretty pleased with that. Definitely no, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and work up the rest of this eye stem now, making sure that I build some nice chunky layers into it, just because like that's a nice visual detail and help it hold itself upright. And I also decided to do some half double crochets around the top and single crochets around the bottom, just to give it a slight curve. So that, combined with like the back post stitching, has allowed it to kind of naturally form the shape I was looking for. Sorry, he's just looking more and more like a slug, and that's okay. Blink. So of course I do need 2 of these. Okay, now there's 2. Okay, so we have 1 and 2 eyeballs. Now they're not very fancy at the moment, but they will be. So next up is the claws, and I gotta tell ya, I'm having a hard time with this thought, because like basically the claws have to be red, at least to start with, and they're a really unfamiliar shape, and so I'm just like, I'm sitting here procrastinating the commencement, because like we have the beautiful ice blue of our base piece, we have the bright blue, which is just a base color of the eyes. We'll be adjusting that later, but like for now it's a bright blue, and now I'm supposed to reach for red. Specifically, these reds, like very, very bright, clashing reds. To say that that's counterintuitive for me is saying a lot, because I mean, you've seen all of the big ones that I've made in the past. They're all like on the displays and the shelf. They're like, I clearly gravitate towards blues and greens, and this guy's going to end up being more of a bluey green kind of thing. It's just his claws are, I'm looking at them, and they are definitely red. It's going to be a hard one for me, so like I'm going to appreciate your emotional support through this. Okay. I'm feeling bolder. I have secured myself a rainbow. Really, all I'm making at this point is the major like hinge joint. That's fine. I can work with that. All right, being brave. Having a hard time telling whether or not it's big enough yet. I think that might have to do, because if I make it too much bigger, it's going to just overwhelm the whole piece. And I know it's meant to be about the same size as the eyeball, and this is about the same size as the eyeball. All right, I've given up on building the armor into these pieces. I do like this first little roll, but the rest of it I'm just trying to make the base piece of it because I'm worried they're getting too big. Okay, no, never mind. We might actually still be to scale. We're doing okay. This looks very questionable in its current form, but it's clearly a crab claw. I don't know what you're talking about. In there. Pow, pow. Okay. Okay. Funny looking thing, but there is one of our arms. Pow, pow. And we've got one. Now we just need a second one. I think that's all coming together quite nicely. There we go. Okay, so now we have arms and we have eyes. I think the next thing I want to do is start chipping away at some of these armor pieces. Now they're all pretty flat squares, but we need a lot of them in a lot of different shapes. So I think now is a good time to start like cranking some of them out. I told you I'd be back for you. Let's pulling out all my colours again for this armour piece. And they do have to stretch like all the way over the back and all the way around. Right, I have a plan. This plan, I think I have to start in this colour, though it feels counterintuitive. Everything about this kind of feels counterintuitive. It may not come as a shock to some of you, but colour work isn't my most confident place to live. That's why most of my stuff ends up being made this green. I guess we're pushing a personal boundary today and just throwing all of the colours at it. And try it on the side. This piece does have to go to about there. So we have quite a few rows and it has to keep expanding out as well. And I'm working my hook from the opposite side to make sure all of my stitches are facing the same direction. Help give the shell a little bit more uniformity, even if I am slower with it. Okay, so I've worked this first piece up to this point, but I've decided I don't like the colours, so I'm just going to make it again. There we go. I think that's better. Then I think it just needs some of the blue that I used for the eye stalks around the edge. So there we go. That is our first big major piece of body armour. Excellent. So now we need just like a whole bunch more of those to cover that booty. It's just a series of tiny shrimpy blankets. Just ignore the ghost of shrimp past in the background there. Okay, so that's arms and armor. So now we're going to do the face. And so we need two different kinds of like three different kinds of whiskery bits. We've got ones that kind of look like little multi-nozzled trumpets. And then we also have the long, stripy, whippy boys. And then we also have those little peacock fabulousnesses. Now, look, I am not by any means an expert in this creature. I am just having a red hot go at making one. So if I've accidentally blurred details that would never exist on the same shrimp, I'm hoping you guys will forgive me for that. But I'm just trying to make a really cool one. So face thingy 2 is going to be a little bit simpler. So we're using the same basic rainbow, but I think I'm going to use my white as part of the rows instead of waiting to stitch it on later, just to make them a little bit more distinguishable from the first face thingies. I will look up what they are called, okay? Maybe I'll put it on the screen for us right now. But no, we're going to go with face thingy 1 and face thingy 2. So just going to make a couple of those now. There we go, I think that's big enough. And I'm really sorry if my beautiful rainbow umbilical has stressed y'all out. But I actually think it's kind of joyous. And means I don't have to stuff it either, because it's already full. There we go. What was I calling this? Face piece number 2? Face thing B? And we are going to need 2 of them. And with those done, we kind of just have the feathery face bit to go. And they are decidedly more complicated. Now, these shrimp are also known as peacock shrimp. And I think I can lean into that for these like feathery bits, which is why I'm starting with like a round purple dot instead of just trying to work it up as a flat piece. Kind of like aiming a little bit more for that peacock feather aesthetic. Right, so I figured that each of these feathers were probably going to need 2 pieces just so that they would be double-sided. Even if one side wasn't going to be particularly visible, I don't really like how flimsy single-piece things can be. So I worked around the edge, but then I'm just like, no, it needs a little bit more of a tube to attach it to the base, and I want to take it from 2 distinct pieces and a flat piece into more of a 3-dimensional piece. So I worked some stitches around the base and up into a little bit of like a tube to attach it to the face as well. I really like these kinds of projects because I definitely get to lean a little bit more on the mad science part of creation as opposed to logical steps for other people to follow side of creation. I think we'll go around one more time. A little bit of ice to transition between the two colours. And then back to our main blue. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to leave that part of the tube. Oop, there we go. Just trim all of our pieces off. But we're not done yet. Alright, so next up I need my red. My goodness, there's so many colours in every single part of this, and it's actually kind of delightful. I think I've probably said that about 50 times by now. But I am definitely, I don't know, some sort of colour therapy or something. So now we need red around the outside too, and there is a decidedly nice side to this versus a bad side to this, so I'm going to try and keep the front as the front. Probably slip stitches would be plenty. The whole way around the edge. It's probably plenty. We're still not done. I've been trying to leave all of like the little stitched on details to the end, but before I like make a bunch of these. But I kind of just want to see how this is going to like turn out in the end. So let's put a little dash of iceberg ahead around the just the whiter edge between the red and the white. Okay. What else? Maybe some of the brighter blue around the middle there just to make it pop. Okay, we're getting closer. I think we're nearly there. So, current status, pretty. Still feels like it's missing something. Oh no, I know what I need to do. Okay, let's just do it. He needs these little feathery bits. Coming along nicely. Needs a little bit of a haircut. It is just now occurring to me that it's not just these two facial ones that I'm going to need to make like this. We have what? At least 4 more for the tail, probably 12 for the body. And like the extra detail's totally worth it. It is, it's worth it. I just wish I'd remembered before embarking upon this that I'm going to have to repeat the method, different sizes, but the method like 16 more times. Okay, so there we go. I do think it was worth the effort. It does need a little bit of a tidy up. Just get them all the same length and we'll style it later. Okay, that is one face dearly bopper. And we are going to need another one. So there are all of the face pieces, I think. Now, those little feathery details on the mouth are pretty much the same kind of thing that I need for the tail and for those like little like bits that line the butt shell. So I don't know, I think we're just gonna like crank out a bunch of those sorts of pieces now and just sort of see where we're at the end of this. So I'm going to start with the ones that need to run down the body, just because I think they're going to be the smallest, and then the ones for the tail will have to be somewhere between the face ones and the body ones. Also, I need more of the body ones, and so I'm incentivized to get more of them done. I'm going to try and stick with the exact same colours in the exact same places, but just in smaller amounts. And also, I don't think I need to stick as firmly to the double layered thing for these body ones because so much of them will be hidden, and that will bring the overall workload from 24 pieces down to 12, which is pretty substantial, frankly, for a project like this. Okay, that wasn't so bad. I mean, I know that it's only 10 and I was talking about 12, but I feel like I'd rather make too few than too many. I can always add more later. So they're all just missing their fringe now. So glad that I've made that a design detail of this. So I guess I'll add that now. Now, let's try that again. There's red fluff everywhere now, but they are done. They're only one-sided, but I'm sure you'll all forgive me for that. Okay, so with all of that done, we just have the little legs to go. And I can't believe I left the legs till last. I mean, we had our armies. Where were our leggies? Now we've got them again. So that's good. Okay, so these legs need to be like a reasonable size because they're the scuttly legs. That was probably horrible. So what I'm thinking is that I'll start in the dark red that I used for like the bomby knocker on the main claw, and maybe use some of the bright red at the knuckle joints just to give them a little bit of definition, and to aid in that definition and that structure as well, just use some front post stitching. It kind of makes them pop, but it also gives them interesting corners, which I think just like adds to the carapace type of thing we're going for. But then I might do the top part in orange again, just to try and make it match up with the main graspy, clawy bits at the front a little bit better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is the leg, and I actually made a lot more pieces today. So what we've made today is 6 crab legs in total. Those are the big scuttly ones. And then I really looked at the picture again, and I realized that he didn't just have like the 2 like big whackers. He also had 6 of these, but he also had some like tiny little like graspy ones at the front as well. So I also went and made 6 of those. 6 of those, so they're going to be like lined up down the front, ready to like grab onto things. And I also made 4 more feathery bits, different sizes to the ones you've seen previously, for the tail piece. And all this is adding up to a lot of pieces at this point, so let's just stop for a second and just see what we've made and where we're up to. Because I'm not really sure if there's anything missing at this point. But yeah, we're just going to stop and have a look. Okay, so we have our big base piece. You can just sit upright over there. We have all of our shell pieces, or what is hopefully all of our shell pieces. We have eye stalks and a series of facial dilly boppery bits. We have 2 big fancy feathers for the face, the 2 arm pieces, the major arm pieces, 6 big legs, and 6 small legs, 10 small feathers for around like the base of the shell, and 4 feathers for the tail piece, which can fit up here because we're running out of space. So there is basically all of the pieces we have made, and that is 45 pieces in total so far. So yeah, that is 45 pieces in total so far, and most of them need a little bit of extra detailing to them. So yeah, I think what we're going to do next is pin all of this together and just see how we're looking, because it's currently Tuesday and I'm hoping this video is ready for you guys on Thursday. Yeah, so yeah, let's pin him together. Come here, Toddy. You are the star of this show. I'll look up what order these go in. Now on is good enough, I think. That's the front. Okay, it's an approximation. Okay, so now all we have to do is add shell pieces on. Goodness. Honey, do you want to see? Ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. He looks incredible.
He's so good!
Mm.
I'm like, he's missing a lot of the details I intend to add, but I'm not even sure he needs all of the ones I had planned. Yeah, so this is his tail, which I can't pin on yet because I found a piece we missed. We missed the tip of the tail. And then these all go down the sides, which I'm just going to pin on top for now, but they will go underneath. Together too, so that's 5. I might need to make 1 more of these little ones each for each end. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, never mind. I have once again proven that I can't count.
In the best way possible.
Yeah. I mean, he's glorious. Honestly, he's kind of a liminal space when it comes to where his legs all sit, and so I've done my best to reconstruct him from several different diagrams. Oh my goodness, I used every single pin! Buddy, you are working so hard and I appreciate you.
It's incredible.
He's amazing. I'm actually gonna cry a little bit. Oh, okay. He's so big, I'm having a hard time fitting him all in frame. He turned out as big as I wanted him to be. I'm a little overwhelmed. I've wanted to make one of these for so long. I'm fine, buddy. I'm sorry. Oh, glorious. He has this little like bald patch on his tummy that I have to work out how to disguise. But in general, I think what he needs now is just a bunch of details all over. So let me just run you through the plans. Okay, so first of all, these eyepieces need some purple detailing around like the actual eyeball, as well as some like of the paler blue worked up through these ridges just to help them blend a little bit more seamlessly with the body base. I was working on my thing and my needle broke. I don't know if I have another plastic one in here. That's really sad. I'm gonna have to go try and find something because like I have a lot more details to add and I was relying on having a plastic needle to do them with. Hold on. Haha! I found another one. Now, please don't break. These bigger legs need some striping to them, but because they're going to be mainly hidden, I'm not going to fuss about them too much. For the shell, we need a whole bunch more like spots of this darker color up here, as well as just a whole bunch of white detailing on either side of this large shell piece. These smaller shell pieces, I don't know if I'll do anything with them. They might get a thread or two of some sort of detail, just to give them a little bit more texture. But in general, I'm pretty happy with them. The feathers are already perfect and I do not need to do anything with them, thankfully. I'm actually really glad that I worked on all of those pieces as we went, because it's going to save me a little bit of time at this end. Whereas a lot of the other pieces I kind of deliberately left blank to do it as like a details pass. But now it just means that I'm going to be doing a lot of detailing. And then for his face, first of all I need to work out which order these go in, but that's neither here nor there. Looking at these legs underneath, these big arms, they need potentially another piece of shell or just a bunch of like white spotted details. I think will help them look a little bit more like I intended. Because he's happy and he knows it, claps his hands. Okay, so all of those details have been added to all of those pieces, as you can see here. And now all I have to do is try and, like, I don't know, for some reason it's always super nerve-wracking, the assembly phase. Something just always feels like it's about to go wrong at that point, even though you would think the point where it was going wrong would be the actual building of it. So I am just gonna strip it down to its base layers, because the whole point is that you got to sew the bottom layers on first, and sometimes you can't tell if they're in the right spot until the stuff is on top of them. But yeah, we're just gonna try and take this slow and do it one piece at a time. We're nearly done! There's just something so satisfying about making a bunch of tiny, perfect little stitches to attach pieces together. I'm talking quietly because it's nearly 2 a.m. But we're going to get it done. I need it done today. Final 4 pieces. Well, final 6, but these are already pinned on. Okay, well, I wondered if I could. I think that answers that question.